And we'll get started. Okay, so guys, welcome to our coach call for the 7th of November. So welcome everybody for the Go team. We're excited to have you here this night. We have a great night of this is we've had epic calls, but this is going to be epicer. It's like epic plus one. So it's epicer. I guess that's like it's not even close to being technically right. So anyway, but it's going to be amazing because Erika Buzzard's in the house. Woo! What? Oh my gosh, that's great. It's going to be so good. I am your host tonight. And anyway, back when it was summertime, that picture and like green, and now it's all turning colors. And now my backyard is officially like brown ground from all the leaves. I've got really boring leaves in my backyard right now. So I don't know if you guys have that feeling. Shout out to the new coaches, particularly I know we have one who should potentially be on. I'm not sure if I see her, if she's even made it. Let me check hold on 2 quick seconds. Let me just make sure I'm not getting a message from her going, wait a minute. Okay, so Kelsey's there. She's on my phone. We have a new coach that I'm not sure if she's able, but this is our new coach, Leslie. Leslie Green Major, so really excited. Leslie's like full of life and spunk, as you can tell by this picture. This is her profile pic, which is really cool. So Leslie is amazing. She's from Miami, and excited to have Leslie join us on the Go team. So Leslie, if you're watching this maybe after, welcome. We're glad that you're joining us on the Go team. And speaking of the Go team, we are here to equip busy coaches with the essentials to build freedom-bringing businesses that help people achieve their goals and live healthy and fulfilling lives. And here's the thing, guys. We used to be equipping busy coaches, equipping and actually inspiring busy coaches with the essentials to build freedom-bringing. And we used to say just thriving businesses. But I think we actually want to call it really what it is. It's freedom-bringing. And I would just tell you, or at least encourage you to think of your business as a freedom-bringing business. That's what we do. That's what we're part of. So whether we're bringing people freedom in their lives from maybe habits that have been hanging on for years, obesity habits, horrible relationships with food. On the other end of the spectrum, where people are anorexic and they have a horrible relationship with food, we can help bring freedom with what we have. And not only that, we can also help bring freedom with regards to the financial part of this as we start to help people build their businesses stronger and stronger as they help people. It then provides some financial freedom for some people, which is also another part of freedom bringing. So I just wanted to kind of give you that real quick. Tonight's quote to grow on real quick. And I love this quote. It's very specific. It ties really directly in with Gary Vaynerchuk. If you guys who went to Summit this year, consistent action creates consistent results. Guys, there's no secret as to the reason why Melanie Mitro has been the #1 coach for probably coming up on 4 years here, guys, just being straightforward with you. She is consistent and consistent. And then she's consistent some more. So it's not like she is like, and if you guys know, there are a lot flashier coaches out there. There are a lot of coaches who are way more charismatic than she is. But man, she is all about systems and consistency and keeping people engaged and getting them great results. So that, I think, is a secret. So I just want to encourage you guys, consistent action creates consistent results. And I love that word action there because I think it's so important. Okay, quick chat shout out. It's the chat shout out. The chat shout out. It's the chat shout out. Bam. All right, I didn't have my theme song again. I keep forgetting it. Erika, I actually have a theme song, which is really pathetic. The fact that I actually made a theme song back in the day for the chat shout out. But I did want to talk to you guys real quickly about Super Saturday. Super Saturday, which was, I would say, probably my absolute favorite Super Saturday that I've ever been to. And I got a chance, just being real, I got a chance to be on stage with Tony the one prior to that, which I thought was like, what can top being on stage with Tony? But I think as an overall experience, dude, this was it. for us here in Indy. Now, some of you may be in different parts of the country. That's fine too. But if you were at Super Saturday, I would love to hear. Now, normally we would do a chat shout out, but we're actually just going to do an open mic shout out. So I'd love to hear if you made Super Saturday. I'd love to hear a quick takeaway from you, maybe just one. And I'll throw up a couple pictures here real quick so you can see some of our pics from our event with Joel and Jericho. Anybody have anything to share? Claire, you want to share a little bit of something about your takeaway from Super Saturday? You need to unmute yourself if you are. Claire, you there? Sometimes Claire does her laundry while we're on call, so she could be not paying attention. That's okay. Claire? All right. That's all good. Stephanie, how about you, girl?
I'm mute.
Yep. Uh-oh. Are we mute again?
No.
Oh, there you go. I hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah. I just enjoyed the workout. It was fun just to see that again. It just confirmed that I'm going to buy it. And I thought it was buy it today. So I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's so good. And anything from like the training parts or things like that? Any takeaways from all that kind of stuff or anything or no?
Gosh, I'm just drawing a blank. The only thing that comes to mind is the only thing I can envision is that workout at this point in time.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's totally cool. Yeah. And I think, having that experience and having the chance to experience them live, I think that I would say the same thing of it really reconfirmed for me, because I'll be honest that my first experience with, and we talked about this on the way out to the car, but was my first experience with the speed workout was like, sort of, because I was just such a combat guy and I've been so used to kind of the choreographed portion. So I was like, I missed that. But after doing it together in a big group and with them coaching us through, it really changed my perception, which was great. There you are, Claire. We were talking to you earlier. So did you have any takeaways specifically from the Super Saturday?
Sorry, my screen froze.
Oh, okay.
I too, since I went to Tony's as well, I really thought this was just really put together really well, and it just flowed really smoothly. And I liked all the people that spoke, and I really liked you, Erika, and Natalie, and I forget the other girl's name, but you guys had great transformation stories, and I loved hearing those. Those were awesome.
Yeah, so good. Yep. Good stuff, and it's always encouraging to hear that. Hear, like, I think real life stories, especially with a new program that's coming out. So that gives us more confidence of knowing that it's going to work. It's not just because corporate tells us so. It's actually like, wow, that's a person that, like, she's flesh and blood. I know that, which is good. Kelsey, I think you're on the line too. Can we get you to comment real quick? If you can, you know what? I'll even unmute you so you don't have to if you're driving or something. Go ahead, Kelsey. You there? Kelsey?
Yes.
Hey, so that was your first Super Saturday. Any impressions from you on that?
I just felt like it was really inspirational, and it like recharged myself to be more motivated to really engage with challengers.
Oh, awesome. Good. And so that was your big takeaway, is to really make sure we're engaging challengers well?
Yes.
Yeah. I would think that was I think probably for me, I'd say that's kind of my biggest takeaway probably was the fact that the magic happens in our challenge group. And the more we can have that magic happen in those groups, the more apt we are going to be potentially to convert folks later on into lasting customers and or coaches in the long run when the magic happens in those groups. And so that was a great reminder from Aaron. I think that was convicting, honestly, in some ways for me, because I'm like, if I were a challenger in my group, how would I be like going, yeah, absolutely. I love this. I want to tell my friends, or is it like, yeah, it's all right. You know what I mean? And I want to make it to be that great experience for them. So that's good stuff. All right, we're going to move on. Very good. Next one, just so you know, This is sort of tentative because we're sort of still working out a little bit of the details, but we're currently still thinking it's going to be on Saturday the 7th, but that is not absolutely rock solid, but that weekend would be it. So it could be a Super Sunday on the 8th potentially, but just kind of letting you know that this is local people, but Super Saturday weekend for those of you who are national, it is that 7th, 8th weekend. So it's it could even be the 6th on the Friday, depending on when you're doing things. So for us, it's always that, for driving down to Indy for us is sometimes a drive that could be interesting, depending on the weather that time of year, which by this particular event was amazing this past weekend. We were like, dude, it was like the best weather. We sat out at, what's it called? The Scotty's Brewery downtown, after the whole thing in the best weather ever outside on the patio area, which was just amazing. So good stuff. All right, quick recognition, and then we'll head into the meat of our call real quick here. I guess I get to recognize myself. Yay me, which is a little awkward. So I'm at Success Club 6 right now, and Steph's at Success Club 2, I think, unless that has changed in the last couple hours. Any updates there, Steph? If you do, let me know. All right, and then if anybody else has any Success Club points in the last, I think it was in the last, probably we ran that report probably around 1 o'clock today. So if anybody has any updates, let me know, and we'll make sure we'll get you a good shout out. Because, and again, just so you know, this is kind of cool. This is the last time you're probably going to see Success Club slides for a while. And guess why? I'm reading a book. And this book is talking about, and I'm going to get really technical on here really fast. Hold on. What are called lead indicators versus lag indicators. A lead indicator is something that you have control over that happens potentially before the outcome that you want to see happen. A lag indicator is sort of a test after something has happened. So the lag indicator says, in our scenario here, Success Club would be in what would be called a lag indicator, which would say, okay, after this thing, did you create a successful business that month? Okay, because we're trying to hit minimally 3 lives changed each month. And so the problem is, if we just recognize you earning Success Club, that means the only thing that we really have control over in that is that if you actually presented this stuff to people and then they accepting your invitation, right? But you really don't have control over whether or not people accept that. So what we're going to start to really count more is our lead indicators, which is our Fit 4. So when you complete Fit 4 on a regular basis, this is what we're going to be counting more, which is part of what we're doing with the No Excuses November challenge going on right now, guys, as we post in the Coach Club, right? So we want to encourage that behavior. And as you bring on new coaches, the whole point is to get that done as many days. We're literally looking to try to get it done 5 days a week. Fit 4 done 5 days a week. If you do that, I guarantee you consistently, if you do that, like we said, consistent action before, your business is going to grow. I promise you. Trust me, 100 billion, 1,000 billion%. Okay? Just saying that. Okay? And if you do that consistently enough, it's going to happen. So don't stop worrying about Sting and Success Club. Stop it. Okay? It's great. It's a sign of you working that Fit 4. Success Club will happen because you're going to do this lead indicator, this thing that's going to be before that is in your control. How many people you are adding to your network, how many people you're forming relationships with, how many people you're inviting, and then how many people you're following up with. Those things you all have control over. The actual accepting of that, which is technically Success Club, you don't have control over. So we're going to stop counting that. Okay? So I'm pretty excited about what that means for you, and I think it's going to change the nature of our encouragement throughout the whole team. Okay? Thanks for listening to that. It's a little message, and we're going to get rolling on this. So we did have the release of Core to Force, which is pretty exciting. Everybody excited for that? How many of you have done a workout? If you've done it, you can either shout out in the chat or raise your hand. Erika, have you done any of these workouts? Okay. Yay. Anybody done one? Good. Bonnie, have you done one? I think yes, you have. Woo. Weekend, says Heather. That's good. Awesome. I just did my first of the deluxe workouts because I did the deluxe one. So I just did MMA speed and that core kinetics together. Dude, I was on the floor and completely drenched. I mean, like, I haven't been in a puddle of that since like original Insanity. Not even Insanity Max 30, like Insanity, dude. I was puddled. It was gross. So anyway, thanks, Joel and Jericho. Good stuff. All right, guys, I'm really excited to welcome for the rest of the call. We're going to spend the next half hour-ish or so with my friend, Erika Buzzard. And this girl, she is an elite 7-star diamond, which I'm super excited. She's a fitness instructor. She's Insanity certified, your PIO and Turbo. Yeah, yes. All three. So she's all three of those, and she's been in the business now. Is it 3 years is what I want to say?
Yeah, about 3.5 years.
Yeah, about 3.5 years, which is great. And she's on the Market Council in Indiana with us, which is great. And the other really cool part about this is that Erika, like Claire mentioned earlier, had the chance to be part of the Core de Force test group. And I thought I just would sneak this little picture in. Woo! Dang. Sorry, I'm a
That's
married
hilarious.
guy. It's all good. Totally. See, right there. I am a married guy, but you did some amazing results there. So that is great.
Thank you.
And just really proud of you for your hard work. So we're going to turn it over now, but I'm going to sort of ask you questions as we go.
Okay.
Erika does have a presentation part where we're going to get into the inviting. But first, I kind of wanted to cover a little bit about your experience with Core de Force, and then we'll get into the inviting stuff in a minute. So tell us, what was being in a first group, to actually, I mean, there are people, my world has been musicals and stuff like that. So I think of launching a musical on Broadway. You get to be the first people to do launch the role. You are actually the first people to experience a workout like this. What was that like to be on the front line of all that?
Well, it was absolutely amazing. And before I get into it, because I absolutely want to answer this question,
Sure.
Would you mind putting the screen off of screen share?
Yeah, you bet.
Only so that I can see everybody's faces.
Yeah, no problem. Hold on one second.
To see you guys so we can kind of connect. Oh, perfect. It's just kind of weird seeing myself in the background and not you guys. So
it's all good.
So nice to see your faces. But oh my gosh, you guys, when I found out I was a part of the test group, it was the best day of my life. I mean, obviously, to be selected by corporate to be a part of this was such an honor, but because of all the hype of the Core de Force fitness program at Summit and everything, I was just this is my soulmate workout, right? I mean, I loved Insanity Max 30 and I'm a fitness instructor. And so I love extreme fitness, if you will. And so I just felt so blessed and so grateful. And so honestly, my most favorite part about being in the coach test group is that it pushed me into the position of a challenger again. And so it gave me this amazing insight on what our clients go through when they say yes to this opportunity. When I was asked, saying yes and that excitement and everything like that. And then the anxiety and the overwhelming sense that you get when you're oh crap, I just committed to 90 days. In this case, they asked us to be in the group for 90 days, even though our program's 30. Yeah. So right away, I was just wait a minute here. I thought this program was 30 days and now they're coming at me with this 90-day calendar. It's taken us all the way up to Thanksgiving, which today is day 77, which is insane.
But who's counting? I mean, really?
I know. Well, they don't count the rest days as a day or no, that counts as a day. I've been a part of this for 77 days or whatever, but
crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's been my most favorite part. I mean, obviously the transformation, the physical transformation, but the mind, body, and soul transformation that I had was unlike anything I'd ever experienced before.
Right.
And it was it's a blessing to then have the opportunity to offer this to our clients and our coaches. I mean, that's a true gift.
No, it's so cool. Okay. So Erika, I'm gonna ask you to be a little bit vulnerable here, if it's cool.
Okay.
So you've gone through a little bit of a rough season is in the last six months or so,
Mhm.
in this particular workout, how has that played into your centering, maybe refocusing, kind of that the conquer from within kind of side of this? How has that really helped you in this last season?
Well, and what Dan is speaking about is about a year ago, my ex-husband and I separated, and then we followed through with a divorce, and our divorce was final in July. So it's been kind of a rocky road, obviously, separating a life that you've been a part of for over a decade. But for me, this was kind of like my rebirth, because, Beachbody has saved my life in multiple different capacities, which I'll get into a little bit later. But I really felt like Joel and Jericho were talking to me and encouraging me through each and every workout. And the thing that was so cool, and it wasn't even Joel and Jericho, it was like a battle of me versus me. And I shared this at Super Saturdays. So for those of you who were there, it was like literally I was going to war against my old self, like I was trying to like just peel this layer of like the old me every single day and leave it on the floor in the basement. Like literally that's how I felt. And when Dan was like, I sweat so much during MMA Speed and during Core Kinetics, I mean, like literally that was my experience that I had every single day. And I can't tell you how many times I like was cussing at the TV and was just like, what? Like, you want us to do what? Like, and it was just like a complete different style of workout than I'd ever experienced in home before. I mean, I'm a group fitness instructor, so like we can get to that place with each other in an environment together. But it was the first time that I had that kind of like out of body experience in my own basement, where I felt like empowered and strong. Like I left my basement stronger than when I came to my basement that day. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I had to power through, and I had to push myself. And I started as a fit person. And so it wasn't a fitness level thing. It was like endurance, like stick with it, do this, keep going, don't stop, modify if you need to, but you're going to get through this workout type thing.
I think the thing that really has hit me in the past, because I'm on sort of my second week, I got like right away, and I sort of like did some pre-stuff ahead of time. But is just that reminder, because I'm a body combat and certified instructor too. And I remember my first going through that and just going, this sucks, because I was an insanity guy. Like I knew like I had my cardio down, but it's a whole different ball game when you engage. It's the truth. This is why I was like, why are they calling this core de force? It just seems weird, but it is so true, especially with the breathing that you have to do. Every freaking punch you throw, you're exhaling in order. So it's core every time you're doing this. So I think that's what added to the sweat, which I'm sure is part of the whole fight that you went through. Okay. So great. I want anything else particularly about your experience, so like your results, how that has played out, maybe that has helped you with your business a little bit.
Absolutely. Do you mind if I go ahead and share my screen? Because I do have a couple of things that I wanted to kind of share with you guys as we were walking through this. And so I will go ahead and see if I can figure this out. Share screen. And I'm going to share my desktop. I like to talk when I walk through all this. So in case I'm like missing an integral point here, I'm going to pull up can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So this guy needs to come forward. This needs to go over here. I'm going to make this bigger. Okay. So, and thank you so much, Dan, for that very kind introduction. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to be here. Can you guys see my screen?
Perfect.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, here's the super cool thing. I obviously, like Dan said, I have been a coach for 3.5 years, but I will say that some of the things that I'm most proud of are my team, obviously, SoulFit Nation, are the fact that we earned elite in 2015 and are on track to earn elite again for 2016. But more than anything, that it has brought me home. And so I know that Dan was talking about the Fit For, and he'll have to fill me in on exactly what those Fit For activities are, just because I'm interested, but I'm sure they're probably something similar to what I share with my team and what I have done to grow my business. But through this whole idea of freedom bringing, that's absolutely been my experience with my business. And it has absolutely brought me to a life of freedom where I get to sit at my kitchen table. I get to sit on my couch. I get to work out on the basement. I get to go up in my beautiful dream office that I created. But more importantly, I get to be present in the lives of my children. I get to see them off on the bus in the morning and after school, and go to their lunches and their parties at school. And I just get to be that hands-on mom that I didn't have growing up, but that I think my mom always wished she was, and that I always wish she was. But now I had the opportunity and have the opportunity to be that mom for my kids. And so it was through action and intention that brought me to this place. So I definitely want to make sure that those are some things that are driven home as I share this stuff with you. But the things I'm proud of are the fact that I'm a Success Club 10 legend, which means at least 24 months consecutively in Success Club 10 or higher. And I went back and did some research, and I've been in Success Club for 35 months in a row. And so that's pretty exciting too, right? But I'm currently here for the month of November at Success Club 23. And obviously—
Can I say something real quick? So let's just quickly translate that. So if that is, so let's just say you hit the minimum of SC10, that's 5 lives times 24. Let's round it up to 25. That's about 125 lives just right there. Okay. And then in addition to that, maybe you've got 11 on top of that. So that's going to be another 50. So just that, and that's probably lowballing it, I'll bet, because the SC10 is probably, I would imagine that you probably are up in the, like you said, 23 here or whatever. So that's a lot of lives over the years. And so very exciting stuff, Erika. Good.
And I'm really glad that you said that, because I think that once we start looking at these as seeds of change, I like to talk about SC as seeds of change, and like Dan said, lives change, because honestly, that's where things started to shift in my business. When I started looking at these points and Success Club and invites and challenge groups as lives being changed. And I really love how Dan shares like your team mission statement every week. I'm guessing he probably does it on all the team calls. I think that's really important, because I think we always have to center ourselves on what exactly it is that we are doing here. And the reason I share those Success Club points with you, or seeds of change points with you, or lives change points with you, is because, I see that as consistency, but I see that as me coming to a realization that I had to come to, and that is that this is a blessing. And I had to really overcome a lot of fears as a newer coach. When I first signed up, I was working full-time as a teacher at Hamilton Southeastern. If you guys are familiar with Indiana, it's one of the biggest, most acclaimed, I guess, schools in the state. And I was afraid to really be open with coaching. I was afraid what it would look like and stuff. So I had a lot of fears. But when I began to realize that like Team Beachbody and this blessing of challenge groups and fitness and nutrition and support and love and transforming people, spiritually, mind, body, and soul transformations, I realized like those are blessings that should be taken very seriously. So whenever I sit down and I approach a month, or I approach an invitation blitz, or the fact that I have a challenge group coming up, I really look at it as a blessing. And I recognize that I have the power to bless somebody by offering this to them. And so I really like to start whenever I do anything work-wise, that this is a blessing, and that Team Beachbody, your team, and you have the power to transform people emotionally, physically, spiritually, and financially. And I feel like if you kind of say that every day, then everything else becomes easier. And when you are open about this blessing and you realize like, I don't have to hide this. Like, I truly want to get people results, and I truly want to help people live a better life. And I truly want to bring people freedom into their lives and their businesses. Then I think that you kind of like open the door and give yourself permission. And so I see this business as the opportunity to bless others through sharing and building relationships. And like Dan said, the lead versus the lag indicators, and I love the 12-week year too, Dan, by the way. I'm reading that too. But I'm guessing that's what book you got that from. But But anyway, the rest will come. It really and truly will. And I can tell you that the success I've had in this business came because I realized this. And I come from this place every single day of knowing that I have the opportunity to bless the lives of others.
So wait, before you move on, can you back up one slide real quick there?
Sure,
Because this is something I want to point out, guys, is the difference. So what Erika's saying here is the fact that, let's go the other direction. Okay, let's do the negative of this, where it's the sales, the pushy realization. So the opposite of this is that you have the power to make more cash for you, to take from others, to cheat them, right? I mean, I'm going to go full out negative here for a second, guys. Like somehow, like we're cheating people because you know what I mean? So that's like, I think the as bad as it can get. But yeah, and I think a lot of coaches, if we're truthful sometimes, will live in that world where it's like almost like, oh, I'm ashamed to ask somebody of asking them for $4 a day for a shake. Oh, I feel like but wait a minute, I'm paying it. I found some great results. Why would I be, so it takes that mental shift to go, wait a second, this is actually a blessing. It's not a cheat. It's gotten me some good results. I feel better. I'm stronger. I love it. Yeah. And it just takes that reinforcing that, guys, on a daily basis. So Erika, I love this. I think this is just so great to have that blessing realization, that I'm going to be a blessing today to somebody because I'm going to offer what I have, which I think is I just had to say it because that's amazing. So good work.
Well, I'm glad that you said that. And here's what I think helps with this too, you guys, is if you think about and you break this down, like think about coaches on your team. And I know Dan can help you out with some of these success stories if you don't have them right at your fingertips, but I'm sure you can consider somebody who on your team or somebody close to you who has been emotionally impacted by this. I'm sure you can find people who have physically been impacted by this, spiritually their lives have been enhanced because of Beachbody. And then financially, I mean, you could probably find people who all of these things have happened to. I mean, I'm one of those people. So like, I think it helps if you connect these changes and these emotions and these feelings to people, because then you really start to, I think, have that connection. Like I can think about my big sister who's a diamond coach on my team. I can think about my mom who was able to go off of like medication for digestive issues. I can think about my dad and my aunt and like people in my family. I can think about my best friend being able to quit her job and do this full time. You know what I mean? Like I've tied this to people and lives and family. And once you do that, like everything else becomes much easier. It really, really does.
Yeah, when you start to hear it's stories, which is great.
It is. Good. It's a collection of stories and experiences. Mm-hmm. And so here's something that I share with my coaches a lot, and this is something that I say a lot, and I wanted to share it with you guys because everything that I do and everything that we do as successful coaches, I believe is tied to these two top responsibilities as a coach. First of all, our job is to share our health, fitness, and personal journeys with others. We have to be vulnerable. Like Dan said, like, I'm going to ask you to be vulnerable. That's part of, I think, what we do as coaches is we shine light on ourselves and on others, but we do that in kind of like this selfless way that like, if we can be of service to others by sharing our journey, then I feel like we've done our job that day. So I like to encourage my team and you all, share your health and fitness and personal journey every single day. Share it honestly, but you always want to have a positive spin on it. Okay. So like if you're having a rough day, you don't want to just air a bunch of dirty laundry on there. You can air the dirty laundry to some degree, but then you certainly want to include the lesson that you learned and kind of like that nugget that you got from that experience, because everything is a teachable moment, especially the negative experiences. But if we share our journey every single day and do it with truth, and I mean, even if it's just sharing your quarter force workout, Okay, like, you know, day 77 of Core de Force, MMA, shred, and core kinetics totally kicked my butt, but nonetheless, I'm still a badass, or whatever. I have to say badass because they say it all the time in Core de Force. And so, earmuffs, hopefully there's no little ones listening, but you guys will catch it once you get started with Core de Force if you haven't already. But, you know, even if it's something that simple, here's the thing: you're inspiring people with whether you're getting likes or comments. I've had people who have not commented once or liked my things or ever sent a message to me, and then out of the clear blue sky, they reach out to me and say, you've been inspiring me for years. But I wouldn't have known it because there's been no communication from that person or activity or interaction. Or people say, I saw your post, I saw your video. I'm like, well, you didn't like it or comment. Like, what do you mean you saw it? But like, people are watching you, whether or not they're reacting to your messages. So
Stalkers.
I know.
Come on, people, help us out here.
But so you want to share your journey wherever you are, because somebody's going to relate to you. You don't want to share a fake journey. That's, you know, disingenuous. You really truly want to be authentically on your own journey. And that's if you have 0 pounds to lose, or if you have 100 pounds to lose, or if you have, you know, a heart situation you need to prove upon, or a spiritual thing, or if you're in the trenches, I mean, wherever you are. And then the second thing I always like to talk about is building relationships, because that is essentially what we do as coaches. We build relationships with people. We build sisterhood. We build best friendships. I mean, I just love Dan so much because we were brought together through the Indiana Market Council, but he just seems like a brother to me. And it's like building relationships. And that's why I'm really excited to be on this call tonight, because I feel like that's so much of what we do is we make new friends. We help people get results. And I was at Leadership in California in October. It's my second leadership that I went to, and it's definitely by far one of my most favorite things to be a part of. But the repeat message that was driven home to us was our job as coaches is to help people get results. And we're really blessed that we have the best fitness programs. We have the best nutrition. We have the best trainers. We have the best of the best that are on our side to help us do that. But nonetheless, we can't forget that our job is to help people get results. All right. And so these are kind of the areas that I always like to kind of attack my day and attack whatever I do with tenacity and with consistency every single day. And if I can say that I've done this and my team has done this, then we're certainly moving in the right direction.
And
so
back to my point too, sorry, yeah. But is like when we talked about lead indicators and lag indicators, those are both really, those are lead indicators. So if you're doing both of those on a consistent basis, right, those are within your range of control, which is, yeah. So great, good stuff. Okay, keep going.
Absolutely. And so like I mentioned before about how sharing your journey is such an integral part of coaching. That's why Core de Force was such a blessing to me, because it basically said like, okay, Erika, here's this opportunity and now you need to share it. Like, you're going to actually have to do it. I mean, we signed all this paperwork, like liability, and said we would follow the rules. We would follow the nutrition plan. We would actually, do what we committed to do, which I think is super cool and definitely something you guys could think about, like having people actually sign some sort of an agreement that they do agree to follow the nutrition plan, or they do agree to follow the fitness plan. Because again, remember, we're here to get people results. And so even though on the front end, sometimes getting before pictures and doing measurements, like that sucks, right? But we need those things. If we really want to measure results, we have to have that data. So I think that we have the opportunity to do, and Dan, he said he's on week 2, and I don't know where you guys are, but you want to go all into a program. I hope it's Core de Force. I really do. I hope you are convinced now. I think, was it maybe Claire or I'm not sure if it was Claire, but somebody said like she just loved the workout and she was convinced that she needed Core de Force.
Stephanie. Yep.
Stephanie. So good. Then we did our job to some degree, because that's what when I first was a part of Core de Force, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so hard. Like, this isn't for everybody. But I was wrong, because there were people in that test group who have hundreds of pounds to lose, who were fighting for their fitness every day in this program. And they didn't start like at the level I started at. They were in a much different place on their journey than I was, but they have still crushed it and gotten phenomenal results. So I changed my mind. And talking to Joel Freeman, he spoke on one of my team calls, and he said, this program is not for fit people who want to get more fit. This program is for people who want a total transformation. This isn't a weight loss program. This is for people who want to change their mind, body, and soul and have a total transformation experience, right? And so it's like, well, isn't that everybody? Well, then, yes, there you go. So, so really, I mean, Core de Force taught me that obviously switching up your fitness is important. Doing something that might seem out of your comfort zone is important, but also sharing the Beachbody programs that we have from start to finish, committing to a fitness program and letting it be known to the world, whether it's Body Beast or Country Heat or Core de Force, like share what you're doing. What is your plan? Share your plan with people. And share what day you're on, what workout, a sweaty selfie, like that should be a given every single day. That should be easy, you know, to do that. You're just simply sharing your journey. And then the nutrition piece can be hard because, I mean, we're all over the place with nutrition. Some people kill it, whereas other people are just getting killed by it. I mean, it just really depends, I mean, where you are, but nonetheless, people can relate to struggles with nutrition because everybody has had them. But when you go all in with your nutrition plan, we all know that's the game changer. And that's why Shakeology is just like our bread and butter, because if a person just changed one thing out of their entire life, their nutrition, their fitness, you know, mindset, whatever, and just incorporated Shakeology, they would get amazing results just by doing that one thing. You know, if they change nothing else. You know, we know that nutrition is 80%. So really, we've got to drive home nutrition. But again, I was looking at this from a lens of being a participant, but also from a leadership side. How can we help people get results? You know, having that all-in mindset, we've got to drive that home with our people because, again, remember, our job is to get people results. We want to be realistic. We want to be understanding that, you know, if they have a 35th birthday, they might have a cupcake. Okay. We don't want to like kick them out of the group or something. You know what I'm saying? But we need to drive home the fact that like, we're all in for 30 days. You know, we're all in. Like it's important that you take this seriously. You can do this for 30 days. Mm-hmm. And then of course the support of the challenge group and the love that we have to offer as coaches and just that entire experience of loving people and supporting them, that is going to contribute to that total transformation. And it completely transformed my life. And I didn't even know I needed it. I mean, I did know I needed it, but like now I look back and I'm like, how did I not know? Like I was a total mess before this, a total wreck, you know, mm-hmm. But I didn't know I needed saving until I was saved. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. Absolutely.
But we have to be willing to be a challenger again. I think more than anything, we have to go all in with our people. You know, we have to share our journey. We have to act as if we're a challenger too, sharing our workouts, sharing our Shakeology, rating our day. You know, like, man, I was really, the margarita was calling me tonight. It was calling me from, you know, from afar, and I had to fight it off with the margarita stick, you know, or whatever.
Everybody knows. Doesn't everybody have a margarita stick?
Yes. I mean, the struggle is real. So, but seriously.
# margarita stick.
Oh gosh. But we just have to be willing to be a challenger again. And if you are struggling in your business, or if you're just getting started and you're like, where do I go? Like, you need to have a bomb.com challenge group. And the thing that's super cool about Core de Force is there's a brilliantly made challenge group guide. I don't know, Dan, if you've checked out that challenge group guide, but it's the best one I've seen.
Okay. I've looked at a little bit, I think a piece of it, but that's something to take a peek at. I will. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like Joel and Jericho are in there giving tips.
Yeah, I saw that a little bit. Mm-hmm.
All of the pictures are all like Joel and Jericho and Core de Force inspired. Mm-hmm. Whereas like some of the other stuff I think is a little bit more general, at least that I've seen. This is really, really specific and just really awesome.
Especially on the launch.
So,
cool.
I'm going to go ahead and move my slide forward here. So this is kind of the meat and the potatoes of, I think what Dan wanted me to talk about now that I've like 20 minutes in. But building relationships really has to start with, and inviting starts with building relationships, because, you know, gone are the days when we just drop invite bombs. You know, we're not just going to send like 100 invites to every person on Facebook, you know, who we are friends with. We're just going to send an invite to everybody. No, please do not do that. That's not how success is cultivated in this business. And that's not how relationships are cultivated. You coming from a place of help, but how do you know what a person's place of help is if you don't know where they are in their life right then? And I like to share this picture of Erin Young. She's my upline. This was at my first summit in Las Vegas. I guess it was 3 summits ago. But I'm reminded of this picture that like Erin and I's relationship has really, really developed over the course of time. We started out as colleagues. We were both teachers. And then my coach, Natalie Johnson, she's a 2-star diamond coach. She's also out of Indiana, but we, all 3 of us were teachers side by side. And it went me, Natalie, Erin, our classrooms. Okay. And, you know, I remember when she shared Shakeology with me, I was the biggest skeptic. I was like, how is that different than Slim Fast? Like, I don't get it. You know, like, why would I spend $100? Like, I was so just skeptical. I mean, I was broke. I was working on the weekends, and trying to make ends meet as a teacher. And I had 2 kids at home, and I was just not in the mood to like hear how this was going to change my life. And, you know, there was a couple months time where we talked and everything. And then finally I tried it with an open mind. And I realized like, hey, I think this is something I could do. I used my birthday money and bought my first challenge pack. It was about 4 years ago. And I wasn't a coach then, I was just a customer, but I just fell in love with Shakeology. But more than anything, I fell in love with the relationships that were created in the challenge group. But again, like, this didn't happen with one message sent to me, right? This was like a cultivation of things over time. So I like to say you have to earn the right to invite. You have to first add people. Like Dan said, you got to increase your reach. A lot of people in this business, and you guys might know, people talk about the cold market and, oh, I got to reach the cold market. No, that's not the way I see it. I see you've got to grow your warm market. I'm trying to get more people in my warm market. I don't like want to work with people I don't know. I want to work with people I do know. I want to get to know more people. So you first need to add people and then connect with them. Those things have to happen before you can even consider an invitation. And so I think that that's where people miss the mark. And I think that that's where consistency and intention and action. And that's why Dan is at Success Club 6 right now, because he's added and connected with people. And then the invite happened naturally. I mean, it's just, I can't stress that enough. If you feel uncomfortable about sending an invite, it's probably because you haven't done enough of the building the relationship on the front end, and you haven't checked your blessing realization either. So, you know, these are just some things that I think are helpful when you're sitting down to invite. And I know from my team and from my own experience that inviting is the hardest vital behavior, because I think we don't properly cultivate that relationship. But then we need to continue cultivation. So let's say you send an invite, you hear nothing. Let's say you send an invite and you hear something and then nothing. Let's say you send an invite and they sign up. Whatever the outcome of the invite is, you are still going to continue a cultivation of that relationship. We never burn bridges. We never write people off. We never say never, because honestly, those are seeds planted. And that's how you need to look at every correspondence, every connection, every interaction. You need to understand that that is one step closer to you being able to bless that person, or that person being able to be blessed by this opportunity.
That's good. And so you're saying is like, there's not, even if somebody like literally goes, I've tried that stuff. I'm done. There still is a place where there may be a follow-up for the future. Maybe it's 6 months down the road where, hey, just want to check in, see how your life is, or whatever.
Absolutely. And what oftentimes that's looked like in my business is, girl, I totally get it. Like, I understand. I tried a bunch of things too before I had success. I mean, you kind of try to meet them where they are. But again, you have to realize that this business and like Beachbody and Shakeology and the fitness programs changed your life or changed the lives of people around you. So just share from a place. I always share like, oh my gosh, girl, I was the biggest skeptic. Like I literally said to my coach, if I cannot have a margarita every Friday and queso, at El Rodeo. I'm not doing this. I mean, I literally was like, if I cannot eat Mexican food every week, I'm not doing it. And she was like, Erika, you can eat Mexican food once a week. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I always try to find it like place where I can relate to that person.
Yeah.
But yes.
And that's really, guys, the effective, that's what, there's the empathetic side of, hate to say it, but sales, it truly is part of it. The more you can connect and just pick up, and it's just that listening properly to be able to pick up what they value and then position what we have to line up with what they value. So good stuff. All right.
You know, and we're lucky that we have massive belief in what we have to offer people. And that's, I think, what's such another, you know, connection to the blessing is we believe in this so much. Like, I would do this for free. I literally would do this for free. I would share this. I would drink it. I would do these fitness programs. If I didn't earn a dime off of it, I would still do them. You know what I mean? Like, we're not selling vacuums. We're not selling Tupperware. It's not purses. I mean, with all due respect to anybody who has ever experienced any of that stuff, but like, we are sharing something that has the power to change lives, to bring mom and dads back to life, you guys. I mean, that belief, you cannot discount that belief that we have and that we all should have if we don't have, that we need to work to cultivate if not. Okay.
Good.
So let me keep it moving here. And you guys, I will make this available to you. These are just like, because I want to leave it open for Q&A, but I did want to prepare some of these things because I do think that having something to a launch point is important. So like, these are, this is how I approach my invitations. I like to keep them short and sweet, but again, this is after I've connected with them in areas outside of Beachbody, and we've have some sort, it's not like this is an invite bomb out of the clear blue sky. Okay. Mm-hmm. So short and sweet, ending with a question, and personalize it. Right? You know, talk about Halloween. Oh my gosh, your little mermaid was so darling. My little girl was Bubbles from the Powder Puff Girls. So cute. Super excited to share with you an amazing opportunity. Keep thinking about you as I'm planning my Core to Force group because I know how much you love fitness. This Revolution new fitness program just launched, and I'm personally coaching. You know, you guys can read it, right?
Yep.
But I like to say at the end, you know, what they can get from this program, kind of what the hype is. And then I always like to say, would love to do this with you. Does this sound like something you can see yourself being a part of right now? I say right now a lot, because right now, with a question mark behind it, it induces action. So this is a typical invite that I've sent. I've tweaked this over the years, but for the most part, this is my go-to. Guys,
can I make a statement that I learned from having done this in a while? And Erika is a perfect example of this. Your final right now is the thing. That's the response. You want a response to that. So sometimes I've seen coaches with their inviting process, they'll like go, is this something you're really interested in right now? And then they'll do another sentence or two after it, and it gets hidden, and it almost is like, well, they'll mention, and you're like, they'll almost make, I saw your kids with the mermaid thing after that. And then it like fogs the ask, you know what I mean? And then they're like, what are they? Oh, I forgot they're asking me. So that final thing is really, I would just say, so she's done it so well here, is that asking right now is truly what was called a call to action. Some kind of response is elicited. So sometimes if you get crickets, it might be the fact that you're not asking that final thing in the final slot of your question to be the thing that you want them to respond to versus, I don't know, something that's not even a question. Just pointing that out. So.
Or let me know your thoughts. That's what a lot of people say.
Yeah.
And let me know your thoughts means this isn't a priority. It's not timely. It's whenever it's good for you. That's kind of what that means. But I can tell you, whenever my coaches have struggled with invites, it's typically because they haven't earned the right to invite yet. Yep. Number one. And so then it's just awkward, right? And then number two, they're over-informed. And that's what I was guilty of in the beginning. Like, I mean, when I first started inviting, I was telling them all about Shakeology. I was telling them all about the challenge group. I was telling them all about the pro. Like, no, my friend, that's too much, right? TMI. So, short and sweet. And you could even take out a sentence here if you want. You could take out one of these sentences too, and it would still be perfect. I mean, it's just, but I like to include a little bit about what the program is. So, but anyway, so that is a typical invite that I would do. I always like to talk about price conversations because I think that if this is important, I would not have a conversation about price if somebody specifically asks me about it. Like if they ask, like if someone wrote back to that invite I just sent that was like, well, how much is it? Then I would say like, well, first of all, could you tell me a little bit about your goals, or like, what are you looking for? Like what about this is exciting to you? Because I don't really know if that person is ready for the price conversation yet, but once they are ready, and that might sound a little vague, but this is the approach that I would take. Mm-hmm. You've got to add the value to it. Because if you just reply back with it's $140, then that's going to be like, oh, okay. Like, I don't like, well, first of all, what do I get for that? And like, that seems expensive. Like, I don't understand, whatever. So if you send it like this really works well for me. You're adding the value. Promotion, I like to say the words like special, promotional price. Here's what you need to understand about the word special, promotional price. All of our challenge packs are on special promotional price.
Everybody.
That's a challenge pack. Okay. Cause I mean, I ran into a situation where I had people saying like, oh, bummer, girl, that was on sale last month. And I'm like, no, don't say that. It's on special. It's on sale every month. They don't need to know that it just so happened to be $20 cheaper last month. Like now they feel like, oh crap, I guess I'll
wait till the next time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So again, you got to be understanding kind of the messages that you're sending. But anyway, and I'm trying to rush through this. I only have like one more slide or something, but anyway, so promotional price 140, here's what all you get. I always like to build. I like to add, I like them to see the value. I want them to say like, oh my gosh, like I get all that for this, that's what I'm going for when I have the price conversation with people.
And I would add just one small thing too, is for that awkward guys, because I think that sometimes is that awkward space when people, and I usually it's the pivot. I call it the pivot. There's a pivot point where you can kind of pivot around somebody when they're directly asking you the price. You go, we have lots of options. Let's talk about what you're trying to accomplish.
Exactly. I like that.
Like if we have lots of options, because it's speaking the truth. You can literally give them the free club membership. That would be an option, right? Yeah. So you can go over lots of options. Let's see what we're trying to go to accomplish, and then we can find you help hook you up with a good solution with what you're trying to accomplish.
I love that.
Just a little, I call it the pivot, a pivot point. So
I like that. That's wonderful. And then the follow-up is crucial. I just think that following up is totally underrated, and I think sometimes it is completely like avoided, and I think it's pivotal, like to use Dan's word, it's crucial. I like to follow up within 3 to 5 days. But again, keep track of your no's. Why did they say no? Is it because they're pregnant? Is it because money's tight? Is it because they're trying out Orange Theory? I mean, like what are they doing? You want to understand why that person said no. But you just want to follow up with everybody. You really do. I like to use words like no pressure from me, but time is of the essence. I like to use the word goodies rather than like your challenge pack or like your package or your, stuff or whatever. I like to use the word goodies. That's just me. And then what questions do you have for me? Are you ready to begin working on your success story? So you would not say to begin. You would just say to begin.
Yeah,
but yeah, following up is crucial. And here's some stats I like to share about multiple exposures or just those conversations and the connects and the invites and the following up and stuff. We're missing out on a lot of people when we don't have repeated conversations, because the truth is that look down here at this 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. So that means we're going to have at least five conversations or 5 connects or 5 exposures before a person is feeling comfortable with saying yes. So we have a lot of work to do, but that should comfort you. If you've had situations in the past where you've invited and you haven't gotten much action, it's probably because you haven't put the action in on the front end to elicit the response that you're looking for. Like Dan said, that decision on their part, we still have to build up their education. It's our responsibility to educate ourselves, but then to be able to educate other people on what Shakeology is and what this fitness program will do for them and what the, Core de Force has to offer them and what they can expect and what kind of results. And this might, you know what I mean? Like we need to make sure we are shedding light on this blessing in the right way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, and I would say this too, guys, especially if you're a newer coach and you look at some of the more experienced coaches who hit Success Club a little bit more on the regular basis, it's the fact that they've had the time, just being truthful, to develop these conversations over many, and I'm just not bragging here, but like I've been doing this for freaking 5 years.
Right.
5 years of some of my seeds are just coming to bear fruit.
Absolutely.
5 years later. So if you're working this for 2 months, I'm just being real. It's not gonna happen the same way. I plead with you. Just like it's gonna take some time. It's gonna take some exposure. So have consistency and have faith. You're offering your blessing, and it's good.
Yes. So I'm going to press escape because I think that's where we come to an end on my slideshow. And I hope that it doesn't cut you out of here unless there's a way you can do this, Dan. I'm just trying to get this off my screen.
No, it's fine. So I will, there you go.
Okay.
And then
there you guys are. See, I couldn't see you that whole time, which was really making me
it sent you into full screen mode, but I kind of flipped you out of that on my end. But
Dan.
Sorry.
Okay. So we're going to go to stop share here.
There we go.
There we go. So if you guys have any questions, I would totally be open to any questions. But again, like I said, I will make that available to Dan. If you guys would be interested in that, just kind of see I know for me, I like to see how other people invite. Like, what do you say? Like, what are we doing here? Like, I don't know. It just helps me to craft what fits for me.
So good. What questions do you guys have for Erika? She's shared a good amount there, and any specifics about maybe you're running even to a specific situation like right now that she could maybe help diagnose or give a workaround or maybe some wording that's different. You got anything that might be in your world? What you got? You can take your mic off. So Claire, you got something? Looks like you do.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, recently I just had a gal, she lost 50 pounds with, what's it called? Science. I can't remember the name was. It'll come to me. But just in general, what do you do? Because there's so many products out there now. And what do you say to someone when, they've actually said they're interested in your challenge? And this is how I started the conversation. Why are you interested? What would you want to, get out of it? And she tells me, well, I haven't been exercising. I've just been doing, drinking the shake every day. And I can't think of it, sorry. But anyway, and I said, well, what have you, what has changed now, coming at me? And she said that, she's just hit a plateau. And so she's not sure if she wants to keep with this shake, and she likes it a lot. It's soy based, I know. But anyway, I'm kind of running out of conversation with her because she stopped talking to me. So, but it's one of those, I'll go back to her, probably, next month or something and see. But I'm sure that comes up, other products, basically.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's a great question because there's so many things out there. There's so many shiny objects, right? And so I would say, I don't know about that because what I always say to people is, I don't know what that is exactly. I don't know what Advocare is. I mean, I know what Advocare is, but I don't know what their shake is all about. I don't know what their nutrition, I don't know anything about that. But what I do know is that Shakeology has absolutely changed the lives of everybody who's tried it on a consistent basis. And then that's when I would tie it to, it gets people over plateaus. It helps them, cut fat and gain lean muscle. It's an immune booster. And that's when I start talking about what Shakeology is, not whatever it is that she's drinking isn't. That's when I would send what I call a third party tool There's some fantastic Shakeology videos out there. Shay Stanford has one that's on like the benefits of Shakeology. Have you seen that one?
I've seen it, but I've never shared it with anyone. Yeah.
That's what I would do, honestly, because she is at a plateau on whatever it is that she's doing because it's time for her to do something different, right? And that's what a plateau is. And so I would just say continue conversation, just continue to let her know that your job is to help people get results and that you really want her to get results. But in your challenge groups, the fitness programs are Beachbody fitness programs. I mean, Shakeology is a non-negotiable in my groups, but I think that it depends on people's position and where they are in their business to be able to do that. But for me, it's a necessity. If you want results, if you want to maximize your effort, Shakeology has to be a part of the equation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I don't know if that helped at all.
No, that's very helpful. And I've heard some of that before. I just need to get it in my head to respond. And also, you know, you can't like throw a bunch of stuff back at them at once. And then if they don't respond back and, you know, it's just like it's kind of a revolving thing. You just keep doing it every day.
And well, maybe you need to use a third-party tool. So find that video on Shakeology and just say, hey girl, I've been thinking a lot about you and where you are in your journey. And I ran across this video and can you check this out and let me know your thoughts on it? Or I would just love to share this with you, something like that.
Oh, that's a good idea. Good. Okay.
Yeah, especially because at that point, again, you're trying to add value to her journey, right? And I think that sign that, hey, I was just thinking about you. This is a thing I saw that might help you or whatever. Or even if you found like something that would talk about like even breaking through plateaus, just like a simple you know what I mean? Not even mentioning anything about us at this point, just go, trying to add to your life. I'm thinking about you. Then that point is like, the next time you ask for a challenge, oh, Claire was thinking about me before. Maybe I should, you know what I mean? It's more relational building at that point.
Good idea.
Steph had a question. I think this is a good one real quick here. Says, so how do you respond to the common responses? I can't afford it, or I don't want to do the shakes.
Well, first of all, those are two different questions. I love those objections though. The I can't afford it, that's kind of easy for me to answer because I couldn't afford it either when I got it. The things that helped me rationalize Shakeology, well, first of all, I saved my birthday money and bought my first challenge pack. So I saved my money. People have the ability to save money, you know what I mean, for things that they want. So I would even encourage having a conversation about like that, like, well, let's tackle this. Let's put $20 aside a day or something like that. But another thing that I say a lot of times is what I found was that when I think about it as how much it costs per day, it's about $4 per day. And I think about that it's my multivitamin, it's my minerals, I don't need to take any extra vitamin or supplement. I am actually saving myself going to the doctor multiple times because when I started taking it, I was a high school teacher and I got bronchitis like every other month of my life, but it prevented me from going to the doctor. It really served as a preventative thing and still does. I mean, I've been drinking it for 4 years. I mean, Dan, I'm sure, has been drinking it for as long or longer. 5 years. Yeah. He's one up me, but I mean, I just talk about how it's a meal, I mean, think about how much you spend on a meal. And if they're like, well, I don't eat breakfast. Well, you should eat breakfast, but also then let's think about how much you spend on lunch or, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Starbucks and all that.
Yeah. Starbucks and all these added things. And I mean, and you're saving money because you're not working through those cravings. Those unhealthy like food urges do go away with Shakeology. And so that's kind of how I would address that. So I think that, oops.
And then the other one is I don't want to do the shakes, just straight up. I don't want to do the shakes.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about why you made that statement. Like,
Steph, I think
I'm saying like, why don't you like shakes? I guess. I mean, Courtney Bear is one of my rock star coaches. She's like a 2 or 3 star diamond. And she said that to me. I don't like shakes. Okay. Well, have you tried Shakeology? And if they're like, well, no, I don't like shakes. Well, Shakeology is not just like any shake. It's not just a shake. Like, again, that gives you an opportunity to educate them on what Shakeology is. Yeah. That's kind of what I would see that as. There needs to be an education on what Shakeology is if somebody says, I don't do shakes. Because I've heard lots of people say they don't do shakes. And it's probably because they're thinking about Slim Fast or whatever, you know, like they're thinking about something nasty.
Yeah. And sometimes even if they've tried Shakeology, guys, just saying too, is like they may have tried it back. I get this all the time. People tried it way back when the formula was horrific. We had this middle phase between old Shakeology, which was like candy. And then we had this phase about 3.5 years ago, whichever it was, that where there was a bad streak, like chocolate taste. Oh, I was like, I don't know if I can make it, man. And then they reformulated it, and it was much, much better. So it could have been during that phase. So you can always check that out, which is something to check.
I would also add to that, if it's somebody that you know and care about and like see on a regular basis, I would make them a shake and take it to them. That has helped me in multiple cases. Like, I will make it. They will fall in love with it. I mean, because who doesn't want a chocolate shake with half of a banana and a tablespoon of peanut butter in it? I mean, come on. You know, like, why would you not? Like, you're going to Steak and Shake for happy hour at 2 p.m. for their shake. But then, you know, this has all your amazing vitamins and minerals and blah, 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 you know, everything like that. So I found that has helped a lot with people like who you actually are in close proximity to. Just make them a shake and take it to them.
So good.
So good. I mean, you cannot tell me that's not amazing. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. The Carl Deichler special is so good. That's what it is.
It is.
All right. Well, guys, I want to encourage you, if you haven't, if you haven't friended Miss Erika, that might be, or at least follow Erika. I don't know if she's got any friends left in her world. But it probably wouldn't hurt to follow. And I'm just going to say this, guys, because the difficulty is, especially when you're, and this is why I love to bring women on as guests on to our calls, because there's definitely a difference in perspective about like what posts work and what don't necessarily work from a woman's perspective, from a guy's perspective. And so if you ever follow, like, because Caleb and I had that issue sometimes, is like, when we post goofy guy stuff, dude, we can get away with that we can get away with that all day. Goofy girl, just, you have to be a special, like, there's a special type of person who's going to pull that off really well. So I would just say, like, following great coaches who are doing some great things. And again, don't just copy it, but like, take the underlying principle and go, wow, that's a great idea. Maybe I'll save that for next Transformation Tuesday or whatever, you know, that kind of stuff. So, you know, follow what Erika's doing, and because this gal is obviously, she knows what she's doing, which is good. So Erika, thank you so much for taking this time tonight on our call. I really, really appreciate it. And it's just been such a great thing to kind of know you more as a friend and follow your coaching journey, which has been great. So wanted to say thanks.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
And guys, just the last quick things here. Just really try to apply what you learn, and try to think about, like, what is an action step that you can take. And I might even just take just like 30 seconds after this call, 30 seconds, just write down one thing. You're going to be more apt to follow up on that one thing by learning from what you learned from Erika tonight. Is that if you write down just that one thing, or maybe two things, or maybe three things, you're going to be that much more apt to remember those things and then apply them to your business. And I know what I've got specifically as we're relating to this whole idea of upfront, as she mentioned, that the whole belief in that blessing mentality, this whole idea of that this beach body is a blessing, and coming to each day is like, wow, I get to bless somebody today. Yay! Versus, I got to sell somebody some stuff today. Right? Okay. So that's going to be my definitely big one. Our next call real quick, guys, is on Monday, November 21st. That will be the week of Thanksgiving. So before we eat turkey and have pumpkin pie and stuff, we will get together and talk about healthy stuff, and maybe have a pumpkin pie Shakeology. So it's good stuff. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. And I'll post this in the Coach Club. And Erika, thanks once again for joining us.
Oh, thank you guys. Have a good night.
All right. We'll see you guys. Thanks again.
Bye.
Thanks.